Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm sharing a birthday card using the newly released Bubbly Birthday for my favorite things, and I'm also using the Watercolor Wash Freeform die for my favorite things. I thought that these two would go really well together, and then in my background I also took the Ocean Wave stencils from Fawn. In this set you have 3 stencils if I'm not wrong, 3, 4? Now I'm not sure anymore. 3. And so I decided to really softly add it into the background using one ink, the correct Pistachio, my favorite. And I'm just switching in between the stencils. These stencils from Fawn are really handy if you need to cover up things as well. But I just needed the upper part of each of the stencils. And I'm just lightly working my way upwards onto this panel. This panel is slightly bigger than what I need, but I will trim it down later on. I also took another piece of paper where I am going to die cut that watercolor wash freeform out of. And then I took the A2 layers die from Waffle Flowers to help me get everything the size that I needed it to be. As you know me, I'm really bad with trimming things straight, so therefore whenever I can use a die, I definitely will, as well as for my pattern paper. Now, to prevent losing all the pattern paper, I also took a smaller rectangular die so that I could just die cut a frame out of this pattern paper and I still have the inside piece for a next project. And after these two items, I also need to die cut that ink blended panel. I'm going to use the same rectangular die as for my white paper. It's slightly smaller than an A2 as I wanted that pattern paper to show up from underneath the other elements. So now onto the coloring. I took a few elements from the stem set. I'm going to make a clean and simple card as I usually do. However, I wanted to have more than just one image in this case. So I decided to go for the seaweed as well as some fish, but I will only use one fish in the end. Also playing a bit with the triangle placement on the card, that always works. So I didn't need 2 fish. So coloring really simple using Copic Markers. I stamped the images out using Gina K Designs Amalgam ink dark chocolate. Aside from the black ink that I use all the time, you also have the fade out ink that I use, and then this dark chocolate, which is an ink that is, as it says, it's a bit dark brown, but it will give you some sort of a sweeter look. And from time to time I just really like that idea, so I decided to use that on these images. Now the mermaid, I wasn't sure how to color it, but I knew that I wanted somehow have my colors return in each of the images, so that's why I reused the pink color of the coral or the seaweed, or however you want to call it. And so I reused that, and then later on for the tail I will also use a combination that I will reuse for the fish. So that's really lovely. For the hair I went for the E50s to help me with it, which gives you some sort of a blonde look. Well, with a pink bow, I just thought it was the perfect match. I bought these mermaids, and maybe something handy to know. I am terrified of water, not for drinking, but I mean swimming and all those things. I'm just not a watery kind of person, so I don't have a lot of stamps that are water related. I also avoided it in design teams where I was in already, and just because it's just a theme that I'm not really into it, so I try to avoid them. But I mean, these were so cute, these mermaids, that I just really wanted them. And then I realized that I didn't buy a certain stamp set in the past for my favorite things. It was with princesses. I think it was a previous release, and I didn't buy them. I was not sure about buying them or not, so I added them to my wish list because they were cute. And then I bought these, and I was coloring these images, and I thought, well, you just love the cute things, and it's clear that this image, well, or these images, this stamp set, was illustrated by the same crazy creative person as the one with the princesses. So I think if I have ever budget over, then I will go back to that stamp set that I added to my wish list, because these stamps are really, really cute. So again, the water, I don't like it. I love this stamp set, but truly, if I could choose between anything, I would never take water. Like, if I go walking with my husband, then he's always walking on the side of the water, because it just makes me uncomfortable. I don't like swimming. I have zero condition. I can do like one row of swimming and then I'm like out of breath for the rest of the time. So I am really, really bad in it. I think if I would ever fall into a river or anything like that, I would die. Really dramatic, I know, but I just don't like it. And I don't see me having any chance on surviving falling into a river, anything like that. So you won't find me in the sea whenever I have holiday or anything like that. I don't go to the coast. I don't like it. That being said, I stamped out a sentiment in the ink blended area, and now I'm just using thin foam squares for the fish and the mermaid, and then the coral, or however it's called, I am adding with some liquid glue on top of the frame. Later on we will pop off the frame with some foam tape, just to play a bit with dimension. That's always fun. And I'm making sure that I'm covering it as much as possible. You know me, you know why I do that. I just don't want it to be ruined during mailing. So that's why I just cover everything as much as possible. And then I can remove the backings and take my time to place this panel on top of, or this frame on top of my panel. It's the same size. I cut it out with the same rectangle from the A2 layers die from Waffle Flowers, so it's a perfect fit. And then we can add everything on top of a card base. So for the card base, I am just using some adhesive roller to add my stuff on top of it. I first need to add my frame. It's slightly bigger than what I need, just to be sure that everything is covered by the frame or by the background. Then doing the background, but since the frame is a bit bigger, I'm just adding some liquid glue on the edges of this panel, trying to align it straight. And then you can add so much on top of this still. I decided to use some clear drops to represent the bubbles in the water. And then if you want to, you can add glitter, you can add glossy accents. I must admit, I got the stamp set on the release moment, and so I wanted to share it as quick as possible. Also on the Card Nouveau Instagram page, and so I decided to not add any glossy accents or glitter since it needed time to dry and I was just home for just an hour, so I didn't have enough time to take pictures when it was dry. So I think it's gorgeous like this, but if I had more time and I was still home to take pictures, I think I would have added some glitter to the bow, and maybe just on the right side of the tail, sort of, where the blue is, and just something like that. But now it's a clean and simple card, and I definitely think that the clear drops already help with the embellishment. So that is my card, my first experience with the new release. I love this new release. I have some other products that I still need to create with and share with you, so that's coming. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will be back soon. Bye!